Welcome to another edition of your flagship program, Telecom Weekly. The program aims at educating, informing and updating you with the latest trends, issues, news and developments in the telecom and ICT sectors, particularly in Nigeria. Do remember that Telecom Weekly is sponsored by the telecom regulator, the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. The protection and promotion of the interest of consumers against unfair practices is part of what we do at the Nigerian Communications Commission. Once again, welcome. My name is Oluwatobi Enito. In this edition, NCC to deploy integrated data solution for improved broadband infrastructure. Nigerian youths advised to shun social vices and be innovative. Also in this edition, NCC continues to make a special case for the girl child as the International Girls in ICT Day is celebrated. Plus, in commemoration of Children's Day, we take a look at the Child Online Protection Initiative of the NCC. These are the stories we'll be featuring in this week's episode of the program. It promises to be very interesting. Please stay with us.
On NCC Telecom Weekly, we bring you innovations, trends, policies and stakeholders, redefining all sectors of our economy today. Here, you'll see the actors, policymakers and creativity that will shape your mind and business for growth in line with today's reality. Join us every Friday, 5 p.m. on NTN Network and on radio, FRCN Network on Fridays, 8 p.m. NCC, Connecting Nigeria.
Our first story is from the one-day workshop and exhibition in Abuja tagged The Geographical Approach for Telecommunication Regulators. There, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, the Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, described data as a critical element in the ICT ecosystem.
The need to have an integrated geographical information system, GIS, a solution that would further boost the country's telecom industry was the topic of discourse at a one-day workshop and exhibition in Abuja tagged The Geographical Approach for Telecommunication Regulators. The event with the theme, Improving Nigeria's Telecommunications Industry through Geospatial Technology, was put together by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, in collaboration with some multinational geographic information system software companies that include Jamantan Tech Nigeria Limited and Isiri. In his welcome address, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman and CEO, NCC, represented by Engineer Abba Adamu, Head Broadband Implementation and Monitoring Unit, Digital Economy Department, recalled the importance of data, which he described as a critical element in the ICT ecosystem. He also touched on the necessity for the integrated data solution in an interview with Telecom Weekly.
Now that we are actually moving to most of this fiber digital era and whatever, we need to actually ensure that what we are doing is the right thing. And the data you are getting from wherever source is the right data, because data is actually very, very important as far as the estimation of what you are going to do is concerned. And this application, as we see here, is going to give us the right data that we are going to get, and we are going to make use of it, and definitely is going to actually help the Commission in moving forward. Not even the Commission, the whole country.
Mrs. Frida Bruce Bennett, Head Digital Skills and Services Unit, Digital Economy Department, NCC, in her remarks, applauded the geospatial intelligence solution, which she said the Commission can leverage on to further enhance the country's broadband infrastructure.
For us as NCC, regulatory decisions, our job primarily is to bring about ubiquitous telecommunications access across Nigeria. Now, we cannot fully know. We know in part, and like they said, Spectrum and some departments have some things. But we need a holistic system that allows us. And also when we want to open new licenses, you might want to say, no, I'm not going to give you. You know, he mentioned some people will say, where should I go? But beyond where should I go, we'll say, no, these are the areas we have mapped out, that we need connectivity, that we need to issue licenses. If you're not going to go that way, do not. We're not going to give you a license.
Earlier, Mr. Olawonle Akitan, Chief Executive Director and Founder, Jamantan Tech Nigeria, gave an overview of what the integrated data solution represents and why it's of utmost importance to telecom regulators.
If for an organization to have everything working well, but the data they have captured is wrong, then every other thing will be interpreted wrongly, and they will miss the solution. So to be able to capture the data right is very important, and so every system of records helps organizations to be able to do this. And with the growing amount of data we're having at this time of development, there's a need to have a system with extensive capability to understand what the data is telling.
Mr. Akito also explained the nexus between the different tech companies involved in the ICT solution being proposed.
Just like they say, data is the next code, and if there's no consolidation and collaboration with different departments within the commission and even outside, we will not be able to optimize the use of this data.
Also in an interview with Telecom Weekly at the end of the exhibition, Monia Bedran, Manager Professional Services, Israel Lebanon, provided some insight on the benefits the NCC stands to derive from the deployment of the geospatial solution.
We've all seen that data is at the core of every decision making, and actually the telecom data here in Nigeria is an asset to the National Commission. Okay, so the question is, how do we get all this data into one single place that is an enterprise location, whereby we can, or all the stakeholders can go into this location and do their decision making based on real and accurate data.
An emerging field of study that includes Geographic Information System, GIS, Remote Sensing, RS, and Global Positioning System, GPS. Geospatial intelligence essentially acts as a unified repository for all operations and maintenance data. The technology can provide telecom companies with resources for improved performance, such as enhanced customer services with location data and imagery, efficient resource dispatch, and prompt sharing of location data. Recall that part of the cardinal agenda of Professor Umar Garuba Dambata administration is improvement of quality of service by promoting the availability of reliable, interoperable, rapidly restorable critical ICT infrastructure that are supportive of all required services.
It is estimated that 60% of Nigeria's population is made up of youths with increased temptations to engage in social vices due to their exuberance. Concerned with the negative trend this portends, the Nigerian Communications Commission has advised youths to be self-reliant for a secured future. This was at the annual public lecture in Abuja organized by the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, NICO.
Take advantage of our innovative youth empowerment initiatives and be self-reliant and productive rather than engage in drug abuse. This was the central message by Professor Umar Garuba Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, to Nigerian youth at an annual public lecture in Abuja organized by the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, NICO. Describing youth as the ones on the superhighway, the NCC boss, who was represented by Mrs. Nnenna Okoha, head corporate communications of the Commission, touched on the digital job creation initiatives the Commission has made available for youth towards discouraging them from engaging in social vices that include drug abuse.
In recognition of the importance of securing the future for our youth, the Commission has put initiatives in place that equip and empower young Nigerians with the ability to contribute meaningfully to the economy. We do this through our annual Information and Communication Technology Innovation Competition and Exhibition, which gives grants to winning projects. This is in addition to the Digital Job Creation for Youth, a program designed to enhance the skills of youths across all 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria.
Besides the Digital Skills Enhancement Program, the EVC also dealt on the Advanced Digital Awareness Program for tertiary institutions, ADAPTI, which is geared towards bridging the digital gaps that exist in schools.
Take advantage of the various digital programs that NCC offers and make yourself gainfully employed, and stop indulging in drug and substances abuse. Be gainfully employed digitally.
In his welcome address, Ado Mohammed Yawuza, Executive Secretary and CEO, National Institute for Cultural Orientation, noted that this year's edition of the event is essentially to use cultural orientation towards admonishing youth from taking to social vices. While speaking to Telecom Weekly at the close of the event, Mr. Yawuza applauded the NCC for utilizing ICT to bring about positive change among the country's young population.
In as much as we're so happy the way they have been gameplay employed, they are getting a lot of opportunity, especially the way NCC and other organizations are giving platform for youth to get gameplay employed, but we also employ on the youth to not to use the social media negatively, because also people use, especially they use the social media negatively.
Chairman of the occasion, Senator Wele Rochas Okorocha, in his address emphasized the roles of parents and leaders in the society in guiding youth to become better citizens. He also encouraged them to be focused and enterprising in their approach.
If social media does not finish you in life, it might make you. And the worst of them all that is coming, the danger I see coming, is the danger of AI, artificial intelligence. This is where we're going to guide our children now, because 90% of Nigerian youth will fall victim when AI comes. But you know, this phone wakes you up in the morning, and you do nothing early in the morning than scroll your phone for 5 hours, searching for what? Some of the information we are searching for is entertainment. So phone is also the worst drug abuse. You must guide them on phone. If you use this phone wrongly, it can destroy you. And we have gotten used to keep it by the side of our bed. As soon as we wake up, everybody is on the phone. Not even studying anything, watching entertainment. That's also another form of drug abuse. This one is called phone abuse, which leads to self-abuse.
Telecom Weekly got the views of some secondary school students of the sideline of the event.
I advise that they should stay away from bad friends and they should just keep their minds off drugs. And they should not be idle, because they say an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Drug abuse, like we should add like people that are selling drugs, because they say in the cigarettes you see smokers are liable to die young, but people are still selling it. We should ban it from the country.
Our peers now think it's something they just want to have fun with. They are with their groups and maybe they are pressured to take it because they want to feel they are among those guys that are the happening guys.
The world is going global, so if there are measures, if there are things we can do with our mobile phones, with our laptops, with our gadgets, that we easily take away our time from all this unnecessary use of drugs, fine. I think the ICT are actually working well in that line.
Drama presentations and cultural displays were performed by different groups to drive home the message of the public lecture. The annual event had in attendance a full complement of the National Youth Service Corps members, students from various secondary schools across the FCT, traditional rulers and several notable personalities.
You can always be a part of this program by joining us via our multiple social media platforms. For inquiries on this program, you can send a mail to telecomweekly@ncc.gov.ng. For further details about the activities of the Commission, visit www.ncc.gov.ng. Our next story is from the NCC's participation at an event to mark this year's International Girls in ICT Day. The need to bridge the digital divide between the male and their female counterparts again came to the fore, with the Commission pledging to continue to encourage girl-child inclusion in ICT.
Only 1 out of every 5 persons in information and communication technology ICT space is female. Mrs. Ufoma Fedaro, Chief Executive Officer of e-Business Life Communication and convener of the International Girls in ICT Day campaign, made this known at the 2023 edition of the campaign in Lagos. She emphasized the need to create awareness about the issue, as she noted that the society has unconsciously relegated females while delegating careers in technical fields, especially in ICT, to their male counterparts.
I discovered that every time I went for any event, ICT events, you have mostly men and just a few women, particularly to speak or to discuss issues in the industry. And I began to wonder, why is it so? And then, interestingly, I stumbled on the fact that even the International Telecommunications Union was concerned. So it means it was not a personal thing for me, rather a global thing. And so they began this initiative, a campaign to encourage young girls to take up careers in ICT. And I decided to latch on it and to begin to do that same campaign in Nigeria, which we started in 2012. And since then, it's been growing and growing and growing, and there are testimonies of girls who have actually begun, many of them are outside the country now, studying courses in technology, and I'm grateful to God.
Mrs. Fedaro explained that global efforts are being made to increase the number of women in the industry to 40%, or 2 out of every 5% in the industry over the next 10 years.
In our industry workforce, only 22% is for women. We have the other men. I mean, that's not good. So we're trying to see, there's like the UN Secretary General said, actually encouraging the women to take up something in ICT is an unfinished business, and we're actually working on that business. We're hoping that in the next 3 to 5 years, we should be able to lift up in Nigeria here from 20% workforce of women to 40%. And we believe that gradually we'll come to realize that ICT is not a boy thing. It's for everybody.
In his keynote address at the event, Professor Umar Garuba Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, who was represented by Mr. Ismail Adedigba, Director, Research and Development, NCC, underscored the importance of the event. This year's event, with the theme Digital Skills for Life, featured quiz competitions, roundtable discussions, and presentations. It was attended by students drawn from 16 schools across Lagos and Ogun State and various stakeholders in the ICT sector. The Girls in ICT Day celebration is an initiative of the International Telecommunications Union, ITU. It is aimed at empowering and encouraging girls and young women to consider careers in information and communication technology space.
Events like this, that are made for empowering girls, they just give me a lot of hope and they put a smile on my face.
Knowing the background, where we were coming from, because we know that there was very little exposure to ICT, and now it's becoming very normal for people to have gadgets, have access to internet, use the internet wisely. So it means a lot to me that especially girls are able to have these opportunities to use gadgets and go into ICT, even as careers.
The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has been championing the girl child through programs like the Nigerian Girls Can Code competition, created for girls in secondary schools with interest and talent in robotics, artificial intelligence and coding. ICT is the driving force of the future, and therefore the future of Nigeria's development will in part depend on how early girls are educated to embrace ICT. Essentially, ICT skills will lead girls into interesting and useful careers, as technology is the new force in the global economy. Indeed, the Commission has continued to show its support towards encouraging the inclusion and promoting the contributions of girls and women to the telecom industry in Nigeria. At the NCC, we believe that gender should never be seen as a limitation, but as a strength and asset.
Children's Day marks a celebration of children. The observance of the day creates awareness of issues that affect children and help us provide the necessary support towards ensuring the future they deserve. Consequently, the telecom regulator has continued to be at the vanguard of promoting child online protection. Our next story tells us more about the drive.
The need for proper regulation to make the internet ecosystem safe and secure to enable the protection of children from undue exposure to evils of the internet cannot be overemphasized. Child Online Protection is an initiative established by the International Telecommunication Union (ITU) in 2008 as part of the overall move to strengthen cybersecurity. The ITU scheme is an international collaborative network which brings together partners from various sectors to ensure a safe and secure online experience for children around the world. By providing legal, technical and organizational measures, children are protected from the hazards inherent in the cyberspace. The NCC has over the years made conscious effort towards educating and ensuring the sensitization of young children about their vulnerability in the internet ecosystem.
We need to protect the children from content that is harmful. Harmful in the way and manner we are bringing the children. Harmful in the way and manner that will make the children to copy practices that are unwholesome, that are not good. Okay, and this they can be able to do by going online, and nobody will be there to really guide them. Of course, you can activate the parental control, you can do a number of things, but we would like to see more measures put in place to ensure content is regulated in a way and manner that the component of content that is harmful does not even reach the children. The children are not exposed to these contents.
Child online abuse is a societal concern that has been worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic created a new normal and a shift in the traditional ways of doing many things. This change also moved education from the classroom to mobile phones, tablets, laptops and desktops, and is now a blend of both. The fusion of children and the internet gave birth to new concerns. As is widely perceived, it has magnified the critical need for parents and caregivers to act responsibly.
It has been very fun, very educative. I've learned more and I've tried to apply it to how I behave and like how I act on the internet and like using my device. And I just try to educate others on like the ways that they should use the internet to be safer and to like avoid trouble and social engineering attacks.
I've been able to learn about the dangers of cyberbullying. It has helped me to develop the confidence when I'm using the internet, like I know what I'm doing. It has taught me how to use the internet safely.
The development culminated in the release of the revised ITU guidelines on child online protection in July 2020, which became a regulatory commitment that resulted in a virtual hangout with a cross-section of Nigerian children by the Commission. The unusual gathering, which was targeted at further simplifying the ITU guidelines, was where the revised and localized guidelines for the Nigerian child were formally adopted by the Commission. The localized versions are online with Agent COP, online safety activity books such as Work with Agent COP, Keeping Children Safe Online, Advice to Parents and Caregivers, and the online safety activity book, A Teacher's Guide. It's important to state that these localized and translated versions of the Agent COP are available for download on the NCC's website in Pidgin, P, Yoruba, Wa, Hausa, Zo, Igbo, Bia, all of which are collectively codenamed the P. Wazobia collection. The Commission has also engaged in aggressive sensitization campaigns online and offline due to the overwhelming and scary possibility of a child being hurt by faceless individuals while surfing the internet and a perceived inability to protect the child. Educating young children about cyber safety is complicated. Young children often do not understand the social and technical complexities of the internet. This lack of understanding arises because the internet is virtual and cannot be experienced firsthand by sense. Telecom Weekly caught up with some parents who expressed their thoughts on the subject.
Every parent that are giving their children phones should be able to know when they are supposed to use the phone and monitor their activities at all the time and regulate them the way they want it, so that the children will not, during their absence, begin to, go into other things that are not educative and important for their education.
There are many great ways children can use the internet to learn and to play, but there are risks also.
I like to say that children remain vulnerable to content, conduct, and commercialization risks as long as they are using the internet.
For us to prepare our children and prevent them from being exposed to some of the risks, parents and caregivers should be in a position to adopt approaches that are non-confrontational, so as to find out what the experiences of the children are online.
All parents, caregivers, and guardians should ensure all children are well informed and understand the smart rules of using the internet.
Make sure your children realize that they should never give out personal details, such as names, address, school names, and telephone numbers to online friends.
Some secondary school students who spoke with Telecom Weekly crew also had this to say on the need for child online protection.
Sometimes when we go online to search for important information, some ads unimportant advertisements may just come up, and you see them displaying things that are negative to the youth mind, things that are not appropriate, like drug abuse. Sometimes you can even see pornographic videos in the ads, and those things can change the mindset of the youth from positive to negative.
I use lesson for educational studies, and sometimes use the social media for some lines, studying with my teachers. And when I cross about bad things on the online, I scroll past the things and focus on the studies I'm looking for online.
It's not everything they see on social media they'll believe on. There's some of them just like frame it to they just frame it to spoil the image on others. Not everything they see they'll believe, because some of them are frauds.
Here are some tips to help protect your children online. Build trust by keeping communication open and supportive. Be the parent, offline and online, by setting limits, controls and standards. Make sure your children understand the SMART rules, that is, safe, meeting, accepting, reliable, and tell. Lead by example. More details can be found on www.ncc.gov.ng. It's on this note that all of us at the Nigerian Communications Commission and Telecom Weekly wish all Nigerian children a happy Children's Day celebration.
On this note, our esteemed viewers, we call it a day on this week's episode of Telecom Weekly. Before we go, don't forget you can always be a part of this program by joining us via our multiple social media platforms. For inquiries on this program, you can send a mail to telecomweekly@ncc.gov.ng. For further details on the activities of the Commission, visit www.ncc.gov.ng. Telecom Weekly is brought to you by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Until we come your way again next week, I am Oluwatobi Enito, saying bye for now.